What's up guys, you know me here with another build guide video. This is my 2-player NECRO push setup. Do 150 clears with this build. Currently ranked 47 on the American server. I'll go through what we have in the cube. Got Relina Shadow Hook. Every point of essence you gain 0.5% damage increase. So you can have a maximum of 330% essence, which you would get 115% damage increase. The reason I only have 328 is because my lost time only has 18, not 20. But this is the best one I can find. Second slot in the cube, we have the Marrow Guards. This is Cycloacrums, deal 400% increased damage on Bone Spear cast. This is a Bone Spear build, so we want to get maximum damage on Bone Spear. Royal Ring of Grandeur, we use this because we use a 5-piece Bone Spear set and 2-piece ghouls. And so we can get the 3-piece and the 6-piece bonus. Petrified Spike, we use this because it's a Bone Spear build. We get 700% damage increase. But now Bone Spear costs 40 instead of 20, so the cost is doubled, but it's not a problem because we have a lot of essence. I'll go through the skills. This build uses a generator, Grim City, Frost Cycle. This is a cold skill. We use this to gain attack speed and proc the secondary on our lost time. Bone Spear Blighted Marrow, this is a poison skill. This is what does all the damage. It does increase damage for each enemy it passes through. So the bigger the mobs, the bigger the groups you pull, the more damage you're going to do. Blood Rush, use this to move around. I use Metabolism, so I get the extra cast. If you do have trouble surviving, I recommend you use Potency. This gives you more armor, definitely makes you a bit more tankier. On 150s it does help. Simulacrum, we use Reservoir, this because it increases our essence. With the Shadow Hook and the cube, we want as much essence as possible, so we get the damage buff. Also, because Bone Spear now costs more, we need more essence to help, so we can cast more spears without having to generate essence back before we cast again. Curse, you want to use Frailty, Early Grave. This triggers the enemy when they're at a higher health. I think it's about 17-18% health, and then it kills them instantly. So if you get say an Elite or Rift Guardian down to 18% health, Frailty Early Grave kills them. For Bone Armor, we want to use Harvest of Anguish. This is because we don't need a stun. The Barb does the pulls and the stuns for us. It's a cold skill. It procs the secondary on the lost time, and it also gives increased movement speed for each enemy hit when you activate your Bone Armor. Passives, we want Standalone. This is for our increased armor. Necro is pretty squishy. On 150 you need to have a bit of survivability so the Barb doesn't have to babysit you the whole time and he can get pulls going. I find Standalone more useful than Final Service. You could use either one, work out what's better for you. Overwhelming Essence, use this because of the Shadow Hook and the cube. Obviously it gives us 40 essence, which has given us a 20% DPS increase just on that passive alone. Spreading Malediction, this gives us a 1% damage bonus for each enemy affected by one of your curses. On 150s you're not killing stuff fast, you're generally dealing with large mobs of monsters. So there's a lot of enemies cursed, and you get a 1% damage increase for every enemy that's cursed from early grave. Serration. We use this because you get a maximum of 20% damage increase. Basically, the further away the monsters are, the more damage you get, the maximum 20% damage. So you want to position yourself with the elites on the other side of the packs if you can, so you get the maximum damage hitting the elite. And this also works with your Blighted Married, increases the damage each enemy it passes through. So if you've got a group of elites, you want to be attacking from the other side of where the elite is, so he's on the end of all the pass-throughs, so you're getting the maximum damage multiplier to kill the elite. Okay, go through my gear. I use 5-piece Bone Spear set, 2-piece Ghouls, Scythia's Cycle as my weapon, Lost Time as my offhand, and Haunted Visions, Convention of Elements, and Crispin's Sentence. Okay, you can get 45% Bone Spear damage bonus. You can get a max roll of 15 on the helm, boots, and offhand. I recommend that you get maximum rolls on these 3 items. Ideally, a perfect helm is what I have here. Intelligence, crit chance, Bone Spear, within a resistance, and reduce duration control peering effects. So say if you get frozen or something like that, it doesn't last as long before you can move. On your chest you want intelligence, vitality, armor, and as a secondary you want some sort of resistance and ideally a pickup radius or reduced rain damage. For your belt you want Dante's Binding. On this you want to try and get a 50% bonus roll. It can roll 50% as max stat. You gain additional 50% damage reduction when there is an enemy affected by one of your curses. So when you curse an enemy, that enemy deals 50% damage, less damage to you. Pants, you want intelligence, vitality, armor, some sort of resistance, and ideally a pickup radius. For your boots, you want intelligence, vitality, ideally you want armor, life per second is useless, and then you want max Bone Spear damage, and then as your secondary you want some sort of resistance and pickup radius. For your gloves, you want intelligence, crit damage, crit chance, and area damage. And then on your secondary you want some sort of resistance and a pickup radius. For Ghouls is a crafted item. You craft this at the blacksmith. You need to do bounties to get mats and then you can craft. It's pretty easy to get ancient items in Ghouls. Do a few bounty runs and you'll have yourself a pair of ancient Ghouls. You can either roll torso, head, shoulders or wrists, depending on what items you have better rolled is what you would go for. Say if you had a primal shoulder piece and a crappy helm, you might want to roll a Ghoul's helm and use your Bone Spear primal shoulders, or vice versa, you know. So it depends on what you have is what you go to roll. On your shoulders you want main stat, area damage, cooldown reduction. And as your secondaries you want some sort of resistance and pickup radius would be ideal. On your bracer you want poison damage, it rolls maximum 20%. Then you'd want intelligence, vitality, max crit, which is 6%. And secondaries you'd want some sort of resistance and a pickup radius ideally. We use Haunted Visions. because cycloacrums will last forever now. So they will not die. And they also duplicate your bone spears. So when you're attacking, they shoot bone spears as well. And with the bone spear set, the 6-piece bonus, your cycloacrums gain triple the damage bonus. So instead of you doing only 10,000 increased damage on bone spears, your cycloacrums are hitting for 30,000. And then they're hitting for all the other multipliers that you have in the cube. So you have, this multiplier, this multiplier, this multiplier. So they're hitting very, very hard, which does the bulk of the damage. For your offhand, you want a lost time. Ideally, it should have a secondary essence. I probably would not use an offhand that did not have essence on the secondary. And then the ideal stats you want is crit chance, area damage, and bone spear damage. Area damage can roll a maximum of 20%. This is the best one I've found, so this is what I'm using. Your weapon, you want a Scythian cycle. The secondary must have essence. I wouldn't use a weapon that didn't have essence on the secondary. And the ideal stats are area damage, intelligence, and 10% damage. This one's a GG rolled one. And then this build has to use a convention of elements. This is what helps do your massive damage deal on your poison cycles. Bone Spear Blighted Marrow is a poison skill. So every poison cycle you're getting a 200% poison damage increase, and with your poison on your necklace and wrists, you can get a maximum of 240% poison damage bonus on the cycle. Ideal stats are crit damage, crit chance, and area damage. This COE is a perfect rolled one. Pretty lucky to find that one. On your charisma sentence, this is a must for the build. It's another damage multiplier. You deal 100% increased damage against enemies affected by a slow. So your lost time, your cold skills reduce the movement by 30%. That's a cold skill which will proc the first multiplier. Frost is a cold skill that will proc it. Also halves the anguish. That's a cold skill that will proc it as well. And on the lost time, you can get a movement speed bonus. It can roll a maximum of 10%, and it can stack up to 5 times. And it lasts for 5 seconds, so you can get a 50% movement speed buff just from the lost time. Okay. And then what procs the the triple bonus on the Crispin ring is the barb. When he stomps, that's another control pairing effect. They get stunned, and that will proc the triple bonus multiplier on the Crispin ring. Ideal stats are crit area damage, but this is the best one I've found, so this is what I've got. And I also, if your barb is good and he can keep ignore pain on you, and you don't need Dainty's Binding the belt for the damage reduction. You can go a full damage build using a witching arrow. Obviously, because you get another 50% crit damage and some attack speed. And this is basically a glass cannon setup, but you need a barb that's good. If your barb's not good, or if he's average and he doesn't have high cooldown reduction and can't keep ignoring you 100% of the time, you're going to have to use Dainty's Binding to keep yourself alive. There, that's basically it, guys. That's my 2-man setup. I use a different setup for 4-man. The gems I'll go through quickly. If you use Bane of Stricken, this is to kill the Rift Guardian. If you didn't use this, you wouldn't be able to kill him on 150. Use Zeus Stone of Vengeance. This is a damage gem. It also stuns enemies. Have a 20% chance to stun them. Basically, the further you are, you get the full 80%. That's at rank 50. It's maximum 80%. Bane of the Trapped. It's another damage gem, but also slows enemies. You gain an aura 15 yards. It slows enemies by 30%. This also helps proc the bonus on the lost time. So those are the 3 gems, and that's the year. If you get yourself a good barb, you should be able to do 150s no problem with this setup. Alright, cheers, catch ya.